Well, air horn in this case. Wisniewski waited 4 minutes and 50 seconds to finally lash out and drop Oganov to the canvas. I'm wondering what he's going to come out for round 2 with.
Well, crap, guys. Here we go. Another close round. Look at these left hands. Landing on the jaw. Here's a different one. Boom. Right up on the cheekbone, and here's this left hook once again. Look at this from the air. On the cheekbone once again. Keith Wisniewski swelling up a little bit, but who do you give it to? Oganov controlling the stand-up clearly, but here's the end of the fight. Bam!
Out of nowhere.
End of the round, rather. I'm sorry.
Out of nowhere did that punch come. Wisniewski's nose is still bleeding from the damage done in that first round. This should be a very interesting round 2.
Now Wisniewski looking a little bit more aggressive. He's keeping the right hand up a little bit more.
Yeah, but as I mentioned, he's bleeding from the nose, and when your opponent sees that, that's like a target. It's like being a bull and seeing red. You go right after it.
It can, but I've known some fighters to see their own blood and use that as a trigger.
There's that clench from Wisniewski. He loves to throw the knees. He loves to throw the shoulder thrust.
Look at him manhandle Oganov and bring him back to his feet.
Doing a great job of blocking the takedown, digging his arm in there for the underhook and hauling Oganov back up.
He's going to try for a sweeper. Almost had it. Oganov switches him back. Now it's Wisniewski's back to the ropes.
You mentioned Oganov might want to be a witness only to round number 1. Well, he certainly came out firing.
No, grab the rope.
But if that was the pass of Oganov, Wisniewski's in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, I don't know who to give the first round to. Do you give it to Wisniewski, who dropped him completely to the ground, or do you give it to Oganov, who landed 4 or 5 brutal left hooks?
Well, Oganov, commanded respect through, like you said, 4 minutes and 50 seconds.
Yeah, I would say just by the sheer accumulation of damage that Oganov inflicted on Wisniewski, that I would give the round to him, although you can't discount the knockdown at the end.
Right.
Wisniewski's got to be hoping that that did some damage that's not going to be reflected on the scorecards, and he can exploit it in this round.
Well, you know what? He's got to not worry about the scorecards and just worry about Oganov right now.
Yeah, Wisniewski, he likes to clinch and occasionally, as I call them, shoulder jabs, ramming the shoulder right up into the jaw, chin, nose of his opponent. It looks like he's trying to sweep the legs out. He's got to get a, oh, that looked a little bit low there.
Oganov did apologize in whatever language they're speaking there between each other.
Yeah, it's always a problem when you have guys throwing knees to the thighs back and forth in the clinch, is that there's always the danger of an accidental low blow, but obviously unintentional.
And it's such an effective Muay Thai tactic, but if you don't know how to pull it off, you can really damage an opponent illegally. And now Wisniewski going for the ribs with that right hand, and Troy Waugh now wants to get him back to center.
And you see him cautioning Oganov for 2 or 3 times now. Oganov's grabbed that top rope to keep from being taken down by Wisniewski. Right now he's flirting with losing a point.
Oganov with a break from the referee after that stalemate. Oganov has been winning this stand-up battle when they're not in a clinch.
Oh, nice knee to the midsection of Wisniewski. And now it's Wisniewski chopping away at the side of the ribs of Oganov.
And that knee strike constantly to the left leg of Wisniewski will pay dividends.
And I'll tell you what, it's Wisniewski getting the better of this exchange. He's keeping the weight off his left leg, so Oganov's pumping those knees into his thigh, but they're not doing as much damage on the unweighted leg as Wisniewski's doing by burying his fist into Oganov's ribs.
And this is infighting at its best. Both fighters have an opening to their opponent and are taking full advantage.
This is one of my favorite tactics right here. If you're in the clinch or if you're on the ground, pick one spot and hammer away at it like Chinese water torture. That pays heavy dividends if the fight goes into the later rounds.
Yeah, Troy Waugh saying, let's work, guys. Work the way out of the clinch, work out of the corner.
Go ahead.
Wisniewski's nose definitely bleeding a lot more now. It's running all down Oganov's back as he exhales when he throws the punches.
So far, conditioning has not been a factor in this fight. Wisniewski, well known that he has fought much longer fights in the days when they could go longer.
Already fought in the days of 1 30-minute round with no breaks, so I'm sure 5-minute rounds must feel like an eye blink to him, but This is an awfully long eye blink because his breathing's got to be impaired by all that blood.
Under a minute to go in round number 2.
You see Wisniewski punch him to the thigh. That's a technique that I learned from Boss Rutan. You see very few fighters use it, but it's smart. Just as a kick will wear down the thigh muscle, a punch will do it almost as effectively.
Both guys trying to take full advantage, and finally, after the Pistons do slow down, Troy Waugh pulls them apart.
Look at Oganov. His ribs are looking pretty red. Wisniewski's face quite a bit worse for wear. Wisniewski looking for that clinch. He wants to land a nice knee to the face.
That's a great tactic for him. He's got superior height. He's got good Muay Thai technique. So I'm glad to see him doing it.
Once again in the clinch. Wisniewski trying to get the feet out from under his Russian opponent. 10 seconds to go now, round 2.
Uh-oh. Right, lands in the half guard of Wisniewski. And now Wisniewski wisely regains his guard.
Just as that end of the round signal is fired, it looked like Oganov was going to have quite the advantage, but again, they'll go back to their respective corners for their 60-second break.
Another Wisniewski wanted to end on a high note by scoring that takedown, but unfortunately for him, it backfired. He ended up on his back. And here we see again how effective Oganov has been with his fists, landing that straight right on the jaw of Wisniewski.
Look at these vicious body punches by Keith Wisniewski. Probably landed 20 or more.
Oh, yeah, at least. But that knee from Oganov into the thigh of Wisniewski has to do some damage as well.
And as I said, that last-ditch effort to end on a high note from Wisniewski unfortunately backfiring, and Oganov falling back.